All right, so you're gonna hit stop recording. Don't hang up right away.
Eric's
Huh?
gonna rip on me. Eric's gonna rip on me so hard for that.
What is up, Allie G fam? I am your guest host, Dan Foley, and welcome back for another track of the pod, track 55. Can you believe it? And as you
Let's
know, this
go.
podcast lives at the intersection of movement, mindset, and music. The highs, the lows, the long runs, the race days, and all the things that carry us forward when it gets tough. I am happy to say that I have a special guest that you guys are familiar with, Allie G. Allie, welcome to your podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the pod. This is incredible. I'm so happy to be here. So unexpected. Great job with the intro. That was phenomenal. I think you're gonna have to do all of my intros because it was better than mine. But yeah,
Nonsense.
I'm honored that you are willing to be the guest host today and talk all things Boston Marathon.
Yeah, I'm pumped to be doing this. I like being on the other side and getting to ask the questions. Man, just last year I'd never been on a podcast, and here I am guest hosting now. So thank you.
I know. Look at you. It's like the third time this year you're on, or well, yeah,
Yeah,
right? Third time.
third
It's
time.
amazing. Love it. I'm honored.
So let's jump into it. You just ran the 130th running of the Boston Marathon, which
I did.
is pretty incredible. Uh, Epic race. I am from Massachusetts, so I grew up watching the Boston Marathon, and I got to run it myself several times. But before we jump into that, let's talk about race weekend. So, what'd you do to stay calm? What'd you do to stay warm? What'd you do to stay prepared?
Oh my goodness, great question. To stay calm, I have to give credit to my pit crew because the weekend consisted of them literally asking me questions right to my face and my brain spinning in 100 different directions and me like not giving a real response. I was just like, hold on, can you ask me again on Monday? Everything was like, can you ask me again on Monday? Can you ask me again on Monday? Like after the race, because my brain was spinning in so many different directions, but they do such a good job of keeping me distracted and they just know what I need to hear. And yeah, I was literally surrounded by my best friends the entire weekend. And we shopped around. We bought a lot of things because shout out to Sid specifically. She knows that we love using retail therapy as an excuse. So anytime I got stressed, she's like, come on, Big Al, retail therapy, retail therapy. So I bought a lot of things I didn't need, but they're all very cute options
All right.
because
So, what's
130th,
is it
you
like?
know.
Was it clothing, all apparel for the marathon? Is that what it was? Or
Yeah, it was.
all right,
I did set out to get one specific crew neck. The one that Brooks made was really cool. That with the sign that said like entering Boston. I think I did my interview with you on the runs wearing that crew neck. So that was one of
awesome.
my favorite purchases. But
So, was
it
that?
kept
Did
me
you buy that
calm.
at the expo?
I went to the Brooks pop-up, which was really cool. They did, I
Nice.
think, out of everything I went to this year, Brooks probably had the best like activations and pop-up. It was really cool.
Very cool. How about the expo? What was your experience there?
The expo was great. I always get overwhelmed um, because, as you know, they changed the corrals this year. So while I got faster, I got bumped a corral. So it was kind of in a different spot this year to pick up the stuff, which was fine. Like it's
Yeah.
not a complaint. Everything ended up being fine. I actually think shout out to the BAA for doing a really good job because the start line, and I'm sure we'll get there, was great. But so it was a little bit different this year, picking up the bib, and the guy that gave me my bib was like, you know, the changed rules this year, right? And I was like, no. And he rattled off like six things, and I could not tell you a single one that he said. So shout out to him. He was great and super helpful, but none of it was processing in my head. I always get nervous picking up the bib because it kind of becomes real.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought the expo was fun. I got free beers and my friends drank them all because I wasn't drinking. And I watched Ash Paulson kick ass on the tread. I think I saw her at mile 76 and we
Unbelievable.
stayed for a few miles. It was unbelievable. And I I have the cutest moment of her and Maddie, her husband. They were singing to each other. it was just so cute. It was so cute. I'm gonna have to share it at some point, but
While she was
got to
at
witness that.
mile 76, she had the energy to sing to her husband.
Yes, they were. I don't remember this song, but it was like a it was either like punk rock or pop punk or one of those. But
Love it.
it was just such a cute moment. So I'm happy I got to see that. And then Expo Part Two, I went back on Sunday, which we'll get to Sunday, I'm sure. But that was my only time returning to the expo to go say hi to my friend Bex, which was really fun. Got to chat with her for a little bit and speak my
Excellent.
goals that are in the future into existence. So hopefully she passes that good luck on to me
All
for next
right.
races.
I saw she was at the Zizal booth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which shout out
Funny,
to
funny
Zizal.
enough.
I take
Yeah.
it every day, year round. So
Really?
props to
I
her.
had never heard of it. Maybe I live under a rock, but I kept calling the mascot Zizi. Me and Sid kept calling him Zizi, and we learned that his name is Nigel. So I'm
Oh.
sorry to the furry that was at the Zizal booth for calling you the wrong name the entire day. But that
So
was the
did
expo.
Bex have any tips or anything to share with you before you went to that start line the next day?
She always has good things to say, but she definitely gave me a lot of confidence in that tailwind, which really helped on Monday.
Awesome.
And just she always stay calm. She always tells me, "Don't look down. There's only defeat," which I love hearing. She told
Yeah,
me that before my first marathon ever, Martha's Vineyard. I was freaking out. That was my first BQ, and yeah, so it was like kind of a full circle moment to see her at the expo. So I had to make it happen.
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it was good.
So I got to see you Saturday night at FanFest. Your lips were
Hmm.
completely purple because it was freezing, and
Yes, as they always are.
yeah, which was crazy how cold it was. Right, it had been like 80 degrees a couple days before, but I got to say, like you ended up having the perfect weather for race day. At least from a spectator point of view, that's how I felt. Like I wished I had been running this year because of how great the
Hmm.
weather was. So is that how you felt as well, or
It's exactly how I felt. I think Sunday I was a little freaked out because it was so cold and it was raining. And then Saturday night was when I saw you and it was freezing, freezing. I mean, I also have like body temperature regulation issues, I think, because my lips turn blue all the time when it's freezing. And like it could go from like it's 0 to 100. But Monday was the perfect weather, almost like so perfect that you didn't need throwaways.
that's
And
awesome?
I was like, this is amazing. And going into it, I'm like, there's a tailwind. We got like 45s to 50s. I think it stayed like almost like at 50 the whole time
Yeah,
ish.
it seemed great for running for
It was
sure.
so nice. Perfect day. Sunny. It was sunny. It was a little like shady at some parts, but it always is. I always forget there's like some shade on the course, but it was a good day.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's talk about the start line experience. So I've run 11 Boston marathons, and I've never had to do what you had to do. Right, you had to get on a bus out at Boston Common and drive it into Hopkinton. So I have no idea what that experience is like because I've been lucky enough to just get dropped off at the start based on where I live. So how was it compared to other races that you've done?
You are so lucky. The bus for me is always a moment where I get super anxious. But this year, because I don't know, so don't quote me on it, but I don't know if there were like more runners, and that's why the whole corral situation happened. But every single year I've run Boston, I have been like I don't want to say late because it's not like I've missed my starting time, but I've been like very delayed in
Yeah,
getting there. So this year it was a complete disaster, and I'm not trying to knock on anybody that organizes it. I know it's a lot of people to deal with, but you know how it is. You go in and oh well, you don't know how it is because you
well,
get dropped
I
off.
saw the
But
bus
you do,
line this
yeah,
year. Like I saw people lining
yeah.
up for it, but that's about all I
And
know. So
but it's like it was backed up through security, and then when you would get through security, there's like a line of porta potties on one side of the park, and people were confused because you didn't know if you were lining up for the bathrooms or the buses, and it just turned out it was everybody trying to get on the bus. So I was like, oh, and I tried to like bypass the porta potty line thinking it was for the porta potties, but it was actually for the buses. So anyway, it was a complete disaster. Like people that were in corrals before me were freaking out. They were trying to like put people in boxes and then put like them on one bus, and then they eventually just like opened up the floodgates, and that's how I got on the bus line.
jeez. So how
Yeah,
long
it
were
was
you in Hopkinton
crazy.
for at Athletes Village before you had to head to the corral to start running?
15 minutes.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow.
And I almost like I say all of this to say like it's kind of a blessing in disguise because I didn't have time to freak out. This is not an exaggeration. I got off the T to at the buses at like 7:15 and I didn't get on the bus until 9:07. So I was freaking out for a little
Wow.
like a little part of me was like, "Oh, I could potentially have to start in the next wave." Because and again, like it wouldn't have been the end of the world. That's not what I'm trying to say, but
Right. Right.
it was I tried my best to be there super early and I still didn't get on until after 9 o'clock. And it's like almost an hour bus ride. So
Yeah.
and when you get there, you have to walk through Athletes Village and then you have that walk to the corrals. So I just walked right to the corrals, went to the bathroom and just I literally had to run to my wave
Yeah,
and
and
it
I
just
and I
started.
think it's a little over a half-mile walk from Athletes Village to the corrals, if I remember. Like,
Hmm.
it's not right
It's a
there.
walk. Yeah, no,
Um,
it's far.
and yeah, so I mean that can definitely mess with you, right? Like you want to get there, you want to have a moment to like take some breaths, kind of set
Hmm.
your mind on what you're about to accomplish. And when you just have
I
to
had no
rush like
moment.
that, I mean, maybe sometimes it's better. You don't have, like you said, you don't have time to freak out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my experience is at the start line. I get dropped off, and sometimes I was waiting. Well, way back when before the bombing, before COVID, before they changed all these regulations about who could be in Hopkinton, I would
Hmm.
get there at 6:30 in the morning, and I'd have to wait 5 hours before I could run.
Yeah,
Um,
see that? I can't do that.
that was too much. And now with the drop off in Hopkinton, most people you can get dropped off, you get brought into Athletes Village, and you're there for a couple hours. And if you're a charity runner, they actually have a separate like charity village that you go to, which is fantastic.
Oh,
There's a gym,
interesting.
you can stay out of the elements. There's porta potties for the charity runners. So it's really well done if you get the opportunity to experience Athletes Village.
Yeah,
But it doesn't sound like you got that opportunity, that's
never.
okay because the result of your race was pretty incredible, and we'll get to that too. So
It was great. It was great. Yeah, it's an experience every time. I always tell everybody, like, and my friends know it too. Back to your original question, it's like, they're like, why are you freaking out? You can run 26 miles. I'm like, you're not understanding. It's about just having my feet on the ground in Hopkinton. That's what I'm worried about because
right,
I have the same experience every year. And every year I should just let it go.
yeah,
Like, I'm just
I,
like,
I
just
hear
give it
you though.
up.
No matter what race it is, right? It's that moment of panic or this anxiety that builds, and it either for me it either subsides the moment I get my bib at the expo, depending on what race it is, or it
Hmm.
doesn't subside until I am in the corral and it's go. And
Yep.
but
Yep.
once you can let go of that feeling, oh man, you can just enjoy it, and
It's so
it just
freeing.
changes the whole experience. So.
Always. Always.
How about gear? What did you wear for gear? Any shout outs you want to give or anything in particular that you want to recommend to
Yes.
people?
So glad you asked. I wore my full backline kit. I always wear the same race crop. And this year they did a Boston drop and it was really cool. It had the backline logo and then it had Boston, just like Boston across the chest and then across your stomach based on which top you picked. I picked the crop, so obviously it goes right across my stomach, but was the line of the Boston course, which was
Very
really
cool.
cool. I loved the design this year. It was the original blue and yellow, like we're both wearing. It was so awesome for the 130th. And I always have my penny in my pocket. I always carry my penny. It's my dog's name. It always brings me good luck. So I had that in there. Um, I had a slight panic about my shoes last week, which is funny. I've been training in Adidas for months and months. Actually, since last year, I've been training in Adidas. And I'm like, I really need a new carbon plated shoe. I got to try something new. Got the Adidas carbon plated shoe. This is not a knock. They're amazing. I just had a slight freak out about using them for the first time at Boston.
Yeah.
So I went out and bought a new pair of Alpha Flies, which is ridiculous. I like broke them in for a week. And I was like, they have to be optimized or whatever Nike says, like they have to be optimized at mile 20. So I had my purple Nike Alpha Flies on, my backline socks, and I was comfortable the whole time. Oh, and my coach and my pit crew together in collaboration put like a little Big Al on the back of my shirt. So
Very cool.
that was nice to see. And I didn't see it until I got to Boston and to the shakeout run on Sunday. So it was a
Oh,
nice
really?
surprise to see.
That's
Yeah.
kind
I'm texting my coach. I'm like, Matt, are you sure you brought my shirt? I'm like, are you sure you brought my top? Because I have 17 others in my bag as a backup.
of that's awesome.
So
All right, so
it's good.
you ready to take us through the race a little bit?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do
So,
it.
speaking from experience, I know that that start it can really screw up your entire plan if you go too hard. Right? It is like a
So
straight
hard.
downhill for a
Hmm.
good mile, mile and a half, and you can pick up speed and pick up pace, um, which is fantastic if it were
Hmm.
towards the end. But given that you're just starting without even being warmed up, like how
Yep.
did you feel about the start? How did it go?
I actually thought I executed it so well this year, which is it's always tough for me in a marathon to not there's like a balance between like not going out too fast, but also having it be one of your first races after a really good training block. I had talked with my coaches on Sunday. We were talking about the pace. I was actually a little bit slower than what we had planned to go out on. And I just kept telling myself that it's not worth it. Like I'm not gonna bob and weave. If I get stuck behind somebody, I'm not trying to like go around them. It was what it was for the first few miles. And once I settled in, I really kind of found my footing, which was really nice. And I actually, somebody actually pushed me in like the first half mile
No.
to try to get around me. She didn't like push me two hands, but like she was nudging me to get out of the way. But I took one look at her singlet and I was like, I'm going to see you later. And I know I'm going to see you later. And I know in what capacity. So I just kind of kept telling myself, like, don't worry about the people around you. Keep going at what feels good and what you had talked about and what you've been training for. And it worked out really well for me.
Awesome.
Honestly, it did. I felt good. And the cheering was crazy in the first few miles. Crazy.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
get a
ever
lot of
remember it being
locals.
like that.
A lot of locals come out. There's a bar in Ashland on your left. I think we mentioned this on the Runs podcast where like people are out drinking well before you start that race, so
Oh,
they
yeah.
they are like gun ho to see you.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but to your point about the weaving and the bobbing, like at the beginning of Boston, what's unique about Boston, right, is that it's through all these like small towns as you work your way
Hmm.
out to the big city,
Hmm.
and the roads are pretty narrow, and there's
Yeah.
sidewalks and there's spectators, and um, runners decide that the porta potty lines are too long, so you got people running off to the sides of the roads left and right,
Yep.
and it's very congested for that first like 2 miles of Boston.
It is.
Uh,
No, it can be very, yeah. Yeah. I try to stick to one side
yeah,
and not stay in the middle because I feel like everybody's just trying to use that as a lane. So I just trying to find like little pockets on the sides. But it is very congested.
yeah. So, like I said, unique to the fact that you're way out in the middle of nowhere and you're running 26 miles into the city, right? Um, so, like, what were some of your favorite parts? It's you're not in the city. You're not seeing like blocks of people in different neighborhoods. You're seeing like suburbs and like kids with
Mm-hmm.
lemonade stands and all sorts of like little
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So talk us through some of your favorite parts of the race.
Great question. I have to say, I did, as we begin this part of the conversation, I did think of you because I high fived literally every single kid I saw, and as you know, that you know how I feel about that. And then
Yes.
I'm like, well, I just had COVID a few weeks ago, so must have some immunity. And I'm like, whatever, it's fine. So I high fived literally, I think every single kid I saw on the side, in like the first 5K. I was just having the best time. Like I said, I was holding back. I was just kind of cruising, felt really good. I think one of my favorite parts, and don't quote me on the name, but I think it's like a donut shop on the right side. It's like I should know the name of it, but it reminds me of like Tim Hortons, like whatever their little donut holes are called.
Oh, it's
Um,
honeydew,
is it
honeydew donuts.
Honeydew?
Yes,
Honeydew. I was gonna say Honeydew,
I know
and
what
it's
you're
always
talking about.
I don't even know if it's open. It looks abandoned every year, and it might just be because I'm running by too fast. But
It's right near a Dairy Queen too, I think, if I remember correctly.
yes, yes, I cannot tell you why. It's one of my favorite parts of the course because every year I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see that donut shop I forget the name of every year. Now I'll remember Honeydew Donuts. That was really fun. Wellesley was crazy. I forget every year how insane it is. They were screaming like top of their lungs. And it's always a fun portion of the course for me because you know those flags that are like the Wellesley half and it's like 13.1 and there are these big flags and like you
Yeah.
know you're at the half. And I looked over, I think it was around the halfway point, maybe a little after, but I looked over. Actually, I didn't even look over. Jared, shout out Jared Ewing, he was like, Allie, Allie, and he gave me the biggest high five. And he was also running. He like wasn't spectating, but he was fully stopped. on the side of the course, and he was probably waiting for somebody else, but he just happened to be there when I was going over the half, and he gave
That's
me the
awesome.
biggest high five. So that was really fun. And yeah, from that point on, I was just freaking out about the Newton Hills, as I always do, even though I know I'm prepared. I just was like freaking out. But I also knew that Newton would be lined with a bunch of people that I knew
Yeah.
and a bunch of people I was excited to see. So yeah, I saw, I mean, like literally every single person. And I typically, I think I've said it with you on our episodes. I'm sure I've said it on past episodes. I am so bad at spectating because I just can't process. Like, I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, where's this person? And where, like, I have to look up, but also film and get video and whatever. I'm horrible at it. I'm getting better as a spectator, but as a runner too, like for some reason, I don't know if it's just I'm so in the zone. Sometimes when people are screaming, I don't process who it is. And the first time that it happened was with my friend Karen, and I knew she was going to be on the left, mile 17 ish. And like kind of in the middle, kind of on the left, because like I knew everybody was going to be on the left, and I heard her, and it took me a minute, and I was like, oh my God. And then I gave her the biggest scream. Who else? I saw my friend Edwin. He's awesome.
It is really cool
Who
that you can be
else?
like running this race with thousands of people, right? I've started at different times, and all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
somehow you're crossing paths with your friends out on the
It's
course, and
crazy.
it can just be that
It's
extra lift
crazy.
that you need just to keep going and to get you excited, or sometimes even screw up your race and make you go a little too fast when you shouldn't be going too
I
fast.
know.
But
I was
but
gonna say the crowds do that to me.
but it is great, right? And it's not your job to look for people in the crowds, right? They're there to see you, and you're there to run the
I know
race,
I'm
so
so bad at
they
it.
need to get your attention. That's it. And
And they all did it. They all did it. I got to our crew, Eric and Erica on the runs. They were screaming at 19.2, and I missed my Coca-Cola handoff with
oh
Erica.
no,
I'm so sad, but I have a story on that later. But as I continued crawling up into like 19 and 20, I saw Emma Bates, and I did the most Allie thing ever. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's Emma Bates." You know, like a total internal thought that comes out loud.
yeah,
I was like, "Oh my god, it's Emma Bates." And then I like ran over and I gave her a high five. And at that point, I will be honest, I was like, I need to be up Heartbreak so badly right now. Like I just needed that section to be over. I was doing really well at the beginning, maintaining pace, and then the third hill always knocks me on my ass.
yeah.
So that was a struggle, but I was able to kind of maintain my pace that I was hoping to keep on the way down, which was good. And as I as I got to the Heartbreak store, I saw this lady holding out a Coke. And I was like, man, I wonder if that's like for people or if she was
Oh
drinking
no,
that. And yeah, I took it. I literally took it right out of her hand. I am
so
sorry
it
to the
could have been her
lady.
Coke, like a spectator just
Yeah,
drinking a Coke.
again, I'm already getting sick from all these kids I high fived. So like, whatever. I needed the sugar so badly for me to take a Coke from a stranger. Like,
Hey,
no joke.
I mean, it's
She saved me.
if you're a spectator on the side of the road and you have your hand out with something, like you just got to assume that that's for the runners. So back
Yeah.
up if that was your Coke, right? So
That's
good for
right.
you.
Back up. I was like, I did one of these. I like took it as a drive by and I'm like, can I have this? Thanks. And I just left. And I went up Heartbreak.
That's awesome.
And so shout out to the random stranger that hopefully wasn't sipping on that Coke because I drank the whole thing and then I ran up Heartbreak Hills. So
So for your listeners that haven't run Boston before, I want to take it back to Wellesley where we were talking. Like for me, like
Mhm,
that's the point in the run where I know that like this is either going to be a really good run for me or oh crap, I have the
mhm,
hardest half ahead of me, right? And
mhm,
right pretty much right after you hit that halfway point, I believe there's a pretty solid downhill, right? And then from there you start to gradually climb, you go over Route 95, and that's
mhm,
not even one of the Newton Hills, right? You go over 95, you come down a corner, and there's the Newton Fire Station, and that's hill
mhm,
number one.
mhm.
Um, what advice would you give people that haven't run Boston before that want to, like, how to prepare for that?
That's such a great question because again, every year I forget how hilly it actually is before
Yeah,
you even get to Newton. So by the time you hit that downhill coming out of Wellesley and then you have that uphill over the highway, it's like it really is like one of the first bigger hills in my like it's all rolling.
Yeah.
right? And then you get to Wellesley, and then you have the downhill, and then you have another uphill before you even get to the Newton Hills.
And that uphill,
Um,
it's ugly. It's like
oh yeah,
concrete. It's a bridge over a highway.
yeah,
There's
it's
maybe
ugly.
7 spectators on it. Like it's
Hmm.
just an ugly part of the. That's like my Queensboro Bridge for people that don't like the Queensboro Bridge.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you and I both like that part of the New York City Marathon, but that's
Hmm.
like the shit factory for Boston is
Yes.
that one like stretch for
No,
sure.
it legitimately is. I think what I always tell myself in those moments is it doesn't really matter how slow you're going, just make it up the hill.
Yeah.
And what goes up must come down, right? And I, even if it sounds stupid, I just repeat it over and over and over and over again because it's true, right? There are no spectators. It's really hard. It's a really tough course, and you don't realize that like your quads are basically cooked by the time you're at mile 16. Like that's just how it's going to be.
And
And
I
it's
think
how well can you handle the pain,
right.
basically.
I think there's like a really ill-timed water stop like halfway up that hill too, if I remember. Like, it was
Mhm.
just like,
Mhm.
why are you making me get my
I know.
water here? Like,
I know. And then
but
by the time you get up, you're like, I wish there was another one like right here.
right, it's a
Please.
bizarre timing.
Mhm.
I will say that downhill though, right before you start all that, that's where I take a different approach than I take at the start, and I just let my body crank down that hill because I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
like this is it, like this is the last time I'm going to pick up speed before I have to go up. So I
No,
don't know if you took that
legitimately.
same approach or
Always. Always on that last hill. I think it's kind of your last, like you said, it's your last moment to kind of just go and let your legs roll down the hill as fast as you're going to go. And yeah, I think this is kind of where the race, I mean, I would say this is where the race begins,
yeah,
right? Because you have a pretty significant chunk of hills, 16 to 20, 21, that can potentially knock you, or, you can just keep going up and just maintain and do your thing. But it's tough.
it is. I mean, they don't call it Heartbreak for nothing, right?
I
It's
know,
the
that's
reason
right.
why it has that nickname. Uh, I will say though, once you get over Heartbreak Hill and you come down, and there's Boston College right there, right, and there's
Hmm.
people waiting to run beside you with a beer or throw tequila shots at you, whatever you need at that point. Like they're ready. So, uh,
Yep.
how like walk me through that? How'd you feel at that point going down into like really like you're in the city now, right? You're about to turn into the city,
Yeah.
and it's a straight shot to the Prue. So
Oh, I could not have been more excited. I was, my legs were hurting so bad. And again, like I really went for it. And I know everybody has their different approach, and I had my plan. Everybody has their own plan, but like this was like an A race for me and a goal race for me. And yeah, I was working out there. So by the time I got to like the top of Heartbreak, I was pretty wrecked. And I was like, I know I will be fine and I will find my footing when I'm going on the downhill. And that's kind of just exactly what happened. And there is nothing like, truly, there is nothing like that downhill coming off Heartbreak because A, it's so steep, as you said, and you are just going. And you know that you still have a significant amount of miles left. I
right,
mean, the hardest part is over. There are still a lot of miles left, so I can see how people can kind of fall into that
yeah, you almost
like
have a
mindset.
10K
I
left at
have.
that point, right?
Yeah,
So
it's a,
it's
that's like almost for I mean for me it's around like 42 minutes, 43 minutes left. So like that's pretty significant. And you know, it's a moment where I, I kind of have to like take a beat for a second. It's like, okay, I just did this really hard part of the course and I'm breaking it down into like thirds, right? Like first third, second third being like Newton and the last third being the 10K. And you're like, okay, how am I feeling? What's my approach going to be? I can fly down this downhill and I'm going to feel really good. But what's going to happen when you keep going flat and you still have those 6 miles to go? So it's just always like a turning point for me too. And it's a moment where I get like I explained to you, I get kind of sad that it's almost over. And I'm like, wait, it's almost over. And then but my family and my friends are always at mile 23 in Brookline. That is always my approach and my strategy when I come down that hill. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a quiet 2 miles where it's just me. I don't know anybody. Let's just regroup after the hills. And then, and then I get to see my family at mile 23 to 24. And then at that point it's over. Like it's over pretty much.
I love that
And
that's where your family is because and this is not a knock at my family, but they are not at that spot, right? And for me, when you
mhm,
turn from, I believe it's Cleveland Circle onto Commonwealth, or
Hmm.
Com Ave, and you're just going down this road for 4 miles, and you have the crossing guard folks with the arrows, like
Yeah.
you got to go this way so we can cross, and it's
So many.
back and forth, like, and you're like, all right, I can do this.
Hmm.
So to know, like, to have someone in between all of that mess definitely
Yep.
helps,
Yeah.
because
It
that
does.
can be grueling on your mental game when it's just you just see straight ahead, and that's all it is for a while until you
Yes.
get to the little tiny hill, which is my least favorite hill
Me too.
ever.
I was
I
gonna
think
say
that's
it.
the 40K mark, right? Like right before
Hmm.
Kenmore Square, and you see the Sitco sign, and you're
Yep.
like, wow, that is a really steep little tiny hill.
Yep.
Like,
And you're like you're fully out of breath by the
right?
time you get up. And you're like, oh my God, I did things that were 10 times harder than this 20 minutes ago. Why can't I make it up this hill? And you know what's equally as evil as that one is the one after the Boston Strong sign when you're about to turn on to Hereford
The down
and
and
you
up.
have that yeah, the down and up. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this
I,
is
there was
it was
actually a Runner's
killer.
World article on that I saw last week that named that the worst hill of the Boston Marathon.
I think it is because you just want to be done so badly and you're like, oh man, I can see Hereford, but hold on, there's this little like it's kind I don't know, is it an underpass? I don't know what the
Yeah,
proper name
yeah.
for it is, but you are like low key going under a main road. So that's always a killer. But yeah, I saw another friend, shout out Josh Vernon. We had the most epic high five at mile. I don't even remember where it was, so forgive me. But he had texted me and he's like, my hand still hurts. I was like, dude, my hand is throbbing.
He had
We
some
had the
great
most epic
videos
high
that he
five.
posted of a ton of runners from
I
Boston. That he
know.
was in a good
He's the
spot for
best.
sure.
He was in the best spot and he spotted me. He's like, I almost missed you, but how could I miss you? And I'm like, thank God I saw you because you gave me life at that moment. And then also backing up once more. Sorry, I'm going off topic.
That's okay.
Now you know what it's like to be the host.
This is your story to tell. Hey,
I'm backing up for a second because you witnessed the moment between me and my friend Jess. Purple hair Jess, she's the best. I saw her going up Heartbreak and I was like, just follow Jess. Do not lose her in your eyesight. And I followed her up Heartbreak. So shout out to Jess too, because she fully, if I did not see her in that moment, I think my morale would have been super, super low. But I saw her on my left and I looked over and we were kind of right next to each other. And I didn't want to say anything because I don't want to interrupt anybody's flow, but I just followed her all the way up Heartbreak Hill. And then you got to witness our hugging moment at the finish line,
I
which
did.
was really
It
special.
was it was really cool. There's some really great
It
photos of
was
that moment.
crazy.
You can see like how much you guys love each other in that moment. It's really cool.
She's the best.
I
She's
love
the
that I got to
best.
witness that.
It
Uh,
was nuts. But
but
yeah.
to your point though, like Heartbreak is a it's hard, right?
Hmm.
It's a legit elevation gain, and you need something that can push you up there more than just your training sometimes.
Hmm.
And I've had stories like that too from the Boston marathons I've done. And as long as you have something like and you have a reason to get up there, it helps. So
You got to get up. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
anyone listening
It's
that's going to
true.
run Boston next year or years ahead, just have your why and have look for someone in the crowd or someone in front of you that can
Yes.
pull you up that hill, uh, and it gets you to the top. There's a
And
street light
it does.
right at the top of the hill.
Yes.
And one year we were running with a group of us from Teddy's team, and
Hmm.
someone came to us right at the bottom of the hill as they're running by us and said, "I just wanted to let you know that my mom's in the hospital right now recovering from her stroke. So it means so much to me that you're running for stroke
Oh my God.
survivors." And we asked her name, and she said, "My mom's name is Maureen." So our mantra was on that last hill was always get to the top for Maureen. Like that's
Oh.
like just don't stop until you get to that traffic light. And then once you're
Hmm.
at the light, it's downhill. So you don't want to stop anyway. So
Right. That's right. You're like, thank God this
yeah.
is over.
So I
And then
love
you see the fun
that Jess
sign.
was there for you, and I can
She was,
clearly
and she
see how
didn't
much
even
she
know it.
means to you. So that's awesome.
She was, and she truly didn't even know it because I was not about to interrupt her. She was focused, and I was like, I'm just going to feed off this energy right now, and I'll tell her later. And we ended up I think she finished like a minute before me.
So you
It's
had no
crazy.
interaction with her at all until the finish line?
Zero interaction with her. I knew it was her, and we were like neck and neck, and I was like, I'm not saying anything because I think I would be thrown off if
Yeah.
someone said something to me. Not in a negative way, like don't say anything to me, but she just looked like she was focused, and I'm like, I'm not interrupting that.
Yeah, and then sometimes like if someone's running with you, right, you start worrying about, am I going too fast for
Them.
them? Are they trying to pace with me? And it starts,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it gets in your head. So I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
it
Well, I'm glad I
does.
got
It
to
does.
witness the moment that she finally did see you. That's pretty cool.
I know, it was crazy. But yeah, and then when I turned on to Hereford, which is also like a slight uphill, and you're just like, all right, come on. I don't remember which episode it was at this point, but you had said like it's a feeling that you just want to feel forever. And I truly was thinking of that the entire time that I was on Hereford, and then I turned on Boylston and I was just soaking it all in. I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to race, I wasn't trying to beat anyone. I was solely running for me in that last quarter mile, and I'm so happy I did because it was awesome. And then I got
Awesome.
to see you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, just make it to Dan.
I'm telling you, I know I've said on your pod that New York is my favorite marathon, but Boston is my favorite finish line. The
Ever.
right on Hereford, left on Boylston, and then just seeing the finish line in the distance. Um, and that's the one time I agree with you that I don't want the race to end. I want it to just stay in that moment and soak it in.
Forever.
And I got to tell you, I got to run the BAA 5K this year, and it finishes the same way the
Mm-hmm.
Boston Marathon does. And the last time I had run it, it was a different course, and it did not finish there. And
Mm-hmm.
so the fact that I got to take the right on left on and finish at the finish line, like it kind of took away some of that FOMO for me this year, and it was just a really cool feeling. Uh,
Yeah, it is
yeah,
cool.
love it.
I ended up doing that last year and I was like, is it bad luck to cross twice? And when I crossed during the 5K, I was like, all right, this is epic. Like I can't wait to do it again
Yeah,
on Monday.
yeah.
And I wish I had done it this year. It just didn't work out that way, but next year it's happening.
So let's see. I had a bunch of questions prepared for you. I think you kind of answered most of them though as we were going through here. I would say for any of your listeners though that haven't done Boston before, like what would you tell a first timer like on how to prepare for this race that might be different than how they prepare for a different race?
Good question. I actually gave this advice to somebody on the bus that I met because she wasn't freaking out. She was super composed. She must have been younger. I actually don't know if she was younger than me or older than
Might
me.
have
It
been
doesn't
too
matter.
late for
But
that person to get the advice, by the way.
no, legitimately, I was like, it's gonna be fine. Don't
Yeah,
worry about
things
it.
you wish you heard 6 months ago.
No, legitimately. And we were late together, and she was in the same corral as me. And I was like, girl, we just have to go. Like, I'm sorry, but like, we just got to go. Like, we have time to pee, put our gels in our pockets, and then it's go time. So, like, any questions you have, ask me right now. Um, but I would say on the technical side, prepare for hills more than you think. And on the emotional side, like for a first timer running Boston, I wish I had this mentality when I first ran it, but just soak it in. Like as cheesy as that sounds, I know I say it all the time, but it's like this year you'll find your way to have a race or be able to race a marathon like Boston while also enjoying it. So like yeah, you can have your A race, you can have your goals and everything. There's nothing wrong with that, but like find a part of the course, find a person to focus on, a group of people to focus on that will A get you through but also will like give you that Boston feeling, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Just like
no,
soak it in. You got to soak it
100%.
in. You
That's how
have
I
to.
approached my first Boston, and it was my very first marathon ever, and I never thought I was going
It's
to do a
crazy.
second one. And it was a yeah, it was a beautiful experience, and it was just fun. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's too,
don't
it's so
disagree with you. I
fun.
think that's great advice.
I
Uh,
hope so.
Anything you wish you
It,
had done differently? I mean, you got a Boston PR, right?
got a Boston PR, ran 5 minutes faster than last year, which is, I mean, I wouldn't trade it. I'm like inching closer and closer to, as my coach always says, Boston gets an inch better every year. Because it does. And that's how it's been for me every single year. And every single year my goals change, but yeah, I had a great day. I don't think I would have changed. I really genuinely don't think I would have changed anything.
That's awesome.
Like I said before, I had the best time. I love when I get to see everybody and also have a really good race. I think it's like the perfect mix of, it's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Get to race and stay locked in, but also see your people. And that's really special and enjoy it.
and you know what? Shout out to your pit crew and all of your supporters that were out there. I was talking to a friend of mine that was trying to get out there and support his brother in normal places, and said to me like, Boston is not an easy course to spectate, and it's
No.
not because you can't just walk like a block over or take the T somewhere to go to another block. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get in your car drive,
Mm-hmm.
but drive far enough where you won't miss someone. Get out of your car, run to the course, see them, jump back in your car, and my wife
Yes.
has told me that it's one of the most stressful things she's ever done was trying to see me multiple times on the Boston course, and that
Mm-hmm.
fear that you're going to miss whoever you're there to support at the finish line because you spent too much time waiting for some
Yep.
other runner to come by. And
Mm-hmm.
so, hey, shout out
It's
to all the
true.
supporters because spectating is not easy, especially in Boston, and it is a
I know.
long and exhausting day because you're on your feet to watch someone run by you for 30 seconds. The rest of us are
Yeah.
training to
Yeah.
run however long we're running, right? But so yeah,
It's so
those
true.
pit crews, those family, those friends, like they make
They're the
Boston
best.
that much more special. And what's great is that it's the first day of April vacation for folks here in Massachusetts, so you get all sorts of kids to high
Listen,
five because they're just pumped they don't have to go to school for the next week. So that helps
that's
too.
right. And their parents are like, you have to go out here. And if you're not in school, you have to do something. At least that's what my parents would say.
Yes, and Allie, let me rest assured that you probably won't get sick because this happens to me every year when I'm training for Boston. Everyone around me, every kid comes home sick from school the 2 weeks leading up to Boston. So they get all the virus out well before then, so
That's
that any
right.
runner who lives here is completely paranoid they're going to be sick at the race. So you're
That's
good.
right. That's right. You know what? I firmly believe that. And thank God I got all this sickness out in the first 3 months of my training. So,
Yeah,
so
worked out great, right?
it's true. It's true. But no, you're right. The crowd is unmatched. And my pit crew is unmatched. And it's funny, I have this moment every year, like my sister and my friends, where I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I have to wait till like mile 23, mile 24 to see you. And every year they're like, no, just trust. Like, just trust. You're going to need it. And every single year they're right. Every
Yeah,
year
yeah,
they're right.
it's a great
So
spot for them to be. So
it really is a great spot. But you cannot see, I also agree with you. It is not a multi spot. You can't. You
it's
can't.
like either like you see them at like mile 5 and then get to the finish, or or that's it.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah. And you're lucky if you make it to the finish line because the traffic's so bad.
right, yeah, it's crazy.
It's nuts.
So the coolest thing for me that your listeners might not know is that I was volunteering at the finish line and I got to see you and give you your medal this year, which was really
Yeah, you
special,
did.
especially knowing it was your Boston PR. And just having gotten to know you over the last 6 months through doing this, and you know, you giving me the opportunity to talk about my charity and all of that. So what a freaking honor it was to get to give you your medal at the Boston Marathon. Uh, what an
Dude, what
amazing
an
moment.
honor. What an honor for me. I was so honored. Like I said before, and like I posted all over my Instagram, I was waiting for that moment all day. I was like, I cannot fuck this up. Like, I need to stay to the right. I need to make it down Boylston because if I do not see Dan, like I would have been just full tears. I it was one of the best moments ever in running Boston. I was so lucky to have you give me my medal, and I'm honored. I'm honored that you waited
Thank you.
around for me at the finish line to give me my medal.
Hey, you're a
Because
fast runner. I
it's
didn't have to wait very long. You got there pretty quickly. So,
no,
but
it
yeah,
was
it's
so fun.
Boston will always be sort of a bittersweet day for me, right after losing my brother because he was always there waiting for me. But to be able to have
Hmm.
those special moments to medal you or to medal my team Skinny Pig team members like Doug and Selena at the finish, like what a I was not emotional until I saw you guys. Like I was okay all day, just giving medals to
Yeah.
people and you know just being part of their joy of what they had just accomplished. Uh, and then when I saw the folks that like I really knew and that really meant something to everything that I've been working on the last year and a half, whew, glad I had sunglasses
That's
on. That's all I'm gonna say.
crazy. I know I'm gonna cry on my own podcast right now. It really is so special, and obviously, it doesn't take away from the people that don't know all the finishers and are giving medals. But like, I would not trade that for the world. What you were able to that you were able to give me my medal at the Boston Marathon finish line is just insane to me. Like, it just doesn't. I can't comprehend it. It was as silly as that sounds out loud. It's just like it's one of those moments where you just don't expect somebody that you know to be able to be there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I would not have traded it for
it's really
anything.
cool. My wife was able to give me my medal last year when I
I
ran,
know.
and
And I got to meet your wife. That was so
yeah,
awesome. So many good
yeah.
moments.
This was the
So
first
many
year we
good
got to
moments.
volunteer together at the finish line, which was really special. It was awesome. So
That's so special. That's so special. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But I really legitimately waited for that all day. And I was like, just make it down Boylston. And I knew at the end of that, I don't even know how long it is. It's probably a half mile, and I'm just like delusional. But the quarter mile, half mile down Boylston, whatever it is, it was it was so fun running, knowing that I was going to meet you after the finish line. And you had
Definitely helps
explained it
knowing that
perfectly.
somebody is waiting for you, right? Like,
I know. I'm like, please, he'll understand.
yeah,
But yeah, it was really special. It was
yeah.
really
Well,
special. And then I
thank you for
reunited with
that.
Jess.
So,
Oh, thank you. Are
and
you
if you run it
kidding?
again
Thank
next
you.
year, I'll be
Oh, I'm
volunteering
running it.
again. So,
You already know I'm running it. So
all
maybe
right.
it'll be our yearly tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in 2028. I have to take a break to actually run it, but I will be there at the
That's
finish line
fine.
next year.
Well, in
My daughter
2028, we'll be
turns.
running together.
What's that?
So
Oh, I'm
in
not as.
2028, we can run together.
You think I'm going to be that fast? Okay, okay,
I do. We manifest on this podcast.
all right. Well, my daughter's going to run. She's going to be 18. It's going to be her
Yes.
senior
Oh
year.
my God.
So maybe you and her
Unbelievable.
will finish together, and I'll just be way behind. But
Listen, I will absolutely run with Paige. No doubt.
but I do like manifesting me getting faster. So let's keep that going.
We get all three of us will run together.
All right.
How's that? I'll just third wheel your guys' family run.
So before we started the podcast, I asked you how you were feeling, but
Yeah.
we didn't capture that. So how are you feeling?
My legs are wrecked, as I said earlier. I was using the Theragun earlier and I was wincing in pain, but nothing out of the ordinary for, actual medical professionals listening that are afraid I have like something wrong with me.
It's a
I
badge of
am
honor. It means
completely
you
fine.
left it all out there. That's what that means.
It's true. That is exactly right. And that's the way I think about it is I left it all out there and I wouldn't have gotten the result that I got if I didn't. So I'm happily sore, hobbling around to the bathroom and like trying to push myself up off the toilet seat because I can't. My legs like apparently don't work. My stomach has finally like settled down, and I'm regrouping, and I'm eating normal foods now, which is great. I'm sick of carbs. I can't believe I've even saying that because I love pasta, as you know. Yeah, and I'm hopefully tomorrow's better. I'm excited for a break. I'll say that.
All right. I mean, every
So
day you'll feel a little bit better. You know that. So
yeah, yeah,
you're
that's
not a
right.
novice. You're not new to this field. So before we wrap up, any hot takes? I know you like to do that
Oh
at
my
the end of your
god.
pod.
Wow, you're putting the question on me.
Hey, I take my job as co-host very serious.
Man. Okay, I mean I think this counts. You're like doing better than me. I'm sitting here, my wheels are turning, and I'm like, oh my god, Dan's a better host of my own podcast than I am.
Nonsense.
No, I mean it. Um, I think there's this preconceived notion, thought, whatever the right word is, that there's this elitist mentality in Boston and at the Boston Marathon. And I've only run it 3 times. You could probably speak more to it than I can, but I have never experienced that personally. I think it's more just a thought that people put out into the world. And yes, of course, everybody thinks it's elitist because you have to time qualify and it's hard to get into. And I understand that. But I think you put that pressure on yourself. So the second you just drop that pressure, it's just another marathon. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't even know if that's a good one,
No,
but that's the first thing I thought of.
I think that's great actually. And to your point, right? You hear so much about like runner shaming and all that, but I don't think that really happens.
I
I
don't
think it's
either.
people that are upset that may have qualified that didn't get accepted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they know that there's charity runners that can't qualify that do get in, but
Mm-hmm.
I think they also recognize that those charity runners work really hard, one, to raise money for great causes.
Mm-hmm.
So many causes would be in dire need if they didn't have giant teams of charity runners raising that amount of money every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's disappointing to not get in when you've done that, but
Of
I think it's just a
course.
moment of, man, I worked hard, I should have been let in, right, and I wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
and that stinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think people truly are angry that there's thousands of runners raising money for great causes out there. I truly don't
Yeah.
believe that any marathon runner is built like that because you just see the best in everybody on Marathon Monday. Like the human spirit is
Mm-hmm.
there, and let me tell you, volunteering at the finish line, that first wave. I don't get to see the pros because they veer off and go to their own special little finish line,
Of
but
course.
the first wave of runners who are legit, very quickly finishing in 220, 230, like they are so genuinely happy and appreciative of all of us working at the finish line to make their experience what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like
Yeah.
Marathon Monday in Boston, even before the Boston bombing, just brings out the best in people. Like you can just see the human spirit on full display, and really any
Agreed.
marathon. I saw that in New York. I've seen that in Chicago. Um, and God, we just need
Yeah.
more of that right now.
We
So
do. I know. And I think the reason I thought of that, well, a few things to say here, and then I swear to God, I'll shut up so you can go move on with your day. But I, I thought of that, I think, because I saw so many people on the sidelines. And again, back to the elitist mentality where it's like, oh, I have to finish in this time. And no matter like come hell or high water, whatever, I don't care if somebody goes down next to me and blah, blah, blah. Like all these things and all these negative thoughts that I hear, I'm just like, none of it's true. I saw so many people via Instagram. I'm sure everybody saw those videos circulating of people picking each other up and crossing them over the finish line together. But I saw people along the course that were cramping, that were collapsing and in pain and maybe had medical issues. I don't know what their situations were, but I saw so many people like crowd them and pick them up, and I saw people on the sidelines doing it too, and spectators, and it's just a really really awesome thing to see. And I think Boston gets knocked a lot for having this elitist mentality, and it's just not something that I've experienced there. And the second thing on that, I will say, I'll shout out my friend Xander. He's a super fast runner. I'm sure you saw him come in. He was like a 220. I'm not even gonna try to get his time because if I'm wrong, everybody's gonna exile me. But he was in the 220s, insanely fast, an amazing runner. I look up to him so much. And I met him the first year I did Boston, which was one of the hottest years, I think, in the last few years at Boston. And we were waiting in line for a portrait at Bandit. And he just turned to me and was like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "You know what? I appreciate you not asking me what my time was." And we just became friends. And it's about those people that lift you up. And everybody just has this, everybody needs to be nicer.
yeah,
That's what I'm
I
trying to
I
say.
agree. I definitely agree. And quick shout out to my coach from last year. He Nick ended up finishing in 240.55. He was aiming for sub 240,
Unreal.
so he didn't get his goal, but I mean he coached me to my fastest marathon ever last year, and I'm so appreciative of that. And this was actually his first marathon, which I was not aware of,
What?
which was pretty amazing to run a 240.55 or whatever those seconds were, right, for your first marathon in Boston.
It's
Uh,
insane.
and he, you are aware of who his brother is, and
Of course.
I think he might beat his brother if they race New York. I don't know, just
You know
saying.
what?
That's all
I
I'm going
think
to
he
say.
might
I'm
beat
not
his
going to
brother
name his
too.
brother, but
I'm not going to name him either, but I'll tell you that family has good genes and
sure, they're
they're
fast.
all fast. And I think he might beat his brother. I will agree
I'm
on
throwing
that.
that out in the universe right now to motivate him to run New York. So
That's the perfect way to do it.
yeah.
That is the perfect way to do it. I love that. I love that.
All right. Well, Allie, I mean, I want to thank you for joining me on the pod today. I mean, it's been great having you. But all joking aside, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to actually interview you on your own pod for Boston because it is a special race. And the Allie G show is very special to me because of everything you've helped me put a spotlight on with Team Skinny Pig and Dana Farber. And I really appreciate it. And so it was an honor to give you your medal, and it was an honor to ask you about your Boston recap today. So thank you very much for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for doing this. I know it was such short notice. I was like, when can you do this? Now? Um, no, in all seriousness, thank you so much. It was, again, wouldn't trade the finish line moment for the world. That was awesome. I'm honored that you even wanted to give me my medal. I'm honored that you're interviewing me on my own podcast. There's no one else I'd rather have do it today than you, and I'm just so grateful for you and all of the work that you do too. And I can't wait to continue to support Team Skinny Pig as
All right.
always.
Well,
And I'll
thank
see
you.
you on Saturday.
Yes. We'll see you at the brewery.
You're gonna be sick of me. Dan's like, can you not come to the brewery?
No, absolutely. Please come.
He's like, I'm actually sick of talking to you. Go away. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I will see you Saturday for a great cause.
Yes.
For Team Skinny Pig and Dana Farber, and we're gonna raise some money and drink some good beer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the beer. I just got a text that it was very crushable, is what Bob said.
Okay. We love to hear it.
Yeah.
We love to hear it. Maybe you'll get me to drink a beer. I'm gonna have to.
Okay.
I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm gonna do it. Just for Team Skinny Pig. That's all right. But thank you for being here. Thanks for doing this with me. I appreciate you so much.